Hey guys, welcome to our first
Hey.
podcast. We are Within the Cauldron. I'm Nico and this is Gypsy.
Yep. And I go by Chrissy on Within the Cauldron. It's a Facebook group that we started 2 years ago. Um, we started for family, and that's what we are. Nico's our cousin, and then my daughters, Amy and Amber, which might be on tonight.
And then we also have a friend and our little technology wizard here, Silver Dragonhawk.
Hello.
Hey there.
How's everybody doing?
Petrified. No. No. We're doing good. It's all good. So, yeah. I'm just glad that we can actually do this. I hope to reach as many as we can to help educate. And here pretty soon, I will tell you some of the lineup that we do have.
Oh.
So, yeah. At least for the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nice. So, I would go first. Ladies first. Okay. So, I go by Gypsy in the pagan community. I'm the high priestess of the Covenant of Blessed Lady. We do have a few other sister covens as well. We do sponsor Nico's coven as well as one of ours. And we've been as a coven for about 31 years. We have done so many events. I used to keep track of them, and then I kind of lost count. But we have done Pagan Pride for Central Iowa and also Colorado Springs, Colorado as well. We've been teachers for the UU churches in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and also in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's about it. So my husband is named Thunder. So we walk the path together, and we have been for a very long time. And now here we are. Nick, how about you?
I am Nico. I am a folk practitioner and Norse pagan. I am the high priest of the Coven of the Sacred Willow, and I've been practicing for about 18 years now, and I was raised in a Ozark folk magic tradition. I am married into a pagan family as well. They have their own family practice, and it is a fantastic experience.
So I guess you can say that we're just a family of witches.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I have 4 kids, about 11 grandkids, 2 or 3 that's kind of like adopted grandkids. And life is just wonderful for us. Being a pagan family from the very start, it's awesome. And how about you, Silver Dragonhawk?
I go by. My name's Johnny. I go by Johnny and Within the Cauldron, but I also go by Silver Dragonhawk, and that is my craft name. I practiced since I was 10, but at the time I didn't know what it was called. So everything came pretty intuitive for me. I was self-taught during those years. In 2011, so that's 13 years now. I started formal training with the Temple of Witchcraft, a tradition of witchcraft, and I am a temple priest. I'm eclectic, and I would say, most of it's intuitive. I do a lot of energy work. I've done just Pagan Pride in Nebraska for a few years, and I met Gypsy and Thunder and their daughters, or at least Amber, in Colorado Springs, and here we are.
Here we are. Yes, I guess I should tell everybody my path is Slovakia, semi-Karlsruhe area. I'm also a Cabot witch from Lori Cabot's clan in Massachusetts. And that's about it for my paths.
I am kind of a grab bag. I am a folk practitioner from our family tradition, and I have studied Norse shamanism and Norse paganism and the Levekia Strega tradition as well, and the Cuaria tradition, which I don't talk nearly enough about, but I've dabbled here and there.
I think we all kind of dabble from different paths. I know I had Deborah in Celtic and Egyptian as well, folk magic. I think, I always come back to my same path because I guess it's just the one that just kind of stuck to me. I'm always willing to learn about everybody else's paths because it's really interesting. And I just want to say hello to Dothos. Thank you for
Yeah, we got
joining us.
this down here in the little corner.
And I'm sure I got into my tradition list.
Yep.
Yes. And, I think what I would like to say first is that it doesn't matter if you're a traditioner witch or not, okay? The craft is mainly what you make of it. So you can be a tradition if you want, or you don't have to. It's pretty much what's in your heart and soul.
You can be solitary, be in a tradition, family coven. There are so many paths. Be in a house in Hoodoo or Voodoo. There's so many avenues, and
Yes.
we're here to bring people in to show a little bit of everybody's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't, and like Chrissy and Nico said, you don't have to be in a tradition. If anybody says, well, if you're not in a tradition, you're not a real witch, then they don't know what they're talking about. Christopher Pinchak drove home pretty hard throughout his courses. Keep what works for you. Let the rest go. It always brings me back to Bruce Lee and his philosophy, and it's like, yeah, it works.
They're not presently in a tradition now that I've met myself. Yep.
Oh, it's glad to meet you. Okay, so we do have some Q&As tonight that we would like to just kind of ask each other. Okay, and let's see, who would like to start first?
Let's start with you, Chrissy. What sparked your interest in witchcraft and magic?
What's my interest? So it was always inside me. Okay, I think what really sparks it is life. Life can be bad. It can be a bitch. And just to let you know that I think that when life kind of grabs you and shakes you here and there and turns you upside down, sideways, and you start thinking, okay, has to be something that is better out there. So I think you would just research it and research it. And I think you kind of know deep down inside that you are different, you're unique, you're like no one else that you know. And you just kind of listen to the universe and have dreams. I have very vivid dreams for a long time when I was a teenager. And when I met Chris and everything, it's like, if you knew how my husband, Chris, who also goes by Thunder, how we met, you would like, oh my gosh, this was like a soul contract or something, not Trent Flames, like a soul contract. And we just kind of walked the path together then ever since. So I think it was always inside of me. That's what I just have to say. How about you, Nico?
So since I was a little kid, I'd always been fascinated by magic and witches and wizards. And I remember I was a little kid and they had those. They were like the academic books for kids that were like picture books that like cover different topics. And they had one on medieval witchcraft. And that was probably like the first book on like witchcraft that I got from my parents. And it was like pictures from museum finds, different charms and things like that. And I was absolutely enthralled by it. And just the lore of witches. And as I got older, I started on the path when I was, I want to say about 14. And I made the jump and started studying into Wicca and just kind of catapulted from there. And I think as far as like what sparked my interest, I was a Harry Potter kid, to be honest. Like I'm from the generation where I grew up with my dad reading the Harry Potter series to us, and as an avid fantasy lover, like throughout my entire life, I always looked for that spark of magic in real life, and then come to find out that it's here, and it's not like Hollywood portrays, but it is a very real thing.
Yeah, it is. John, how about you?
Oh, well, let's see here. So at about the age of 10, I had a very, very vivid dream. And I call it my spiritual awakening because that night, it scared me. It's a long story, but what came out of it was the next morning I woke up, get ready for school, and went in my room. My jeans were in the bottom drawer. My leg wouldn't bend. So out of frustration, I punched my left knee. It unlocked. I went to the floor and went to a grand mal seizure. A little bit later, they got me into the ER. A little bit later, I had another grand mal seizure. They never found the reason for it. But when they were carrying me during that grand mal seizure, when they were carrying me from the restroom back to the bed, I heard a voice in my head that said, "Breathe, Johnny, breathe. Breathe through your nose." And I started to, and I came out of it by the time they got me to the bed. From that point on, I started having not just vivid dreams, but lucid dreams. And throughout the course of my teenage years, I had taught myself how to sword fight, how to cast spells, just how to not only control my dreams, but be able to enter other people's dreams. And it came natural to me. And of course, back then, not knowing what witchcraft was, or magic, or any of it, I kept my mouth shut. I mean, there was a very few friends that knew about it, and they shared similar experiences and interests. But so fast forward quite a few years, and I got to a point where I was kind of in a low spot in my life, and I thought, there's got to be more to life than this. And so I tried to go back to, what I grew up with, what I knew. So I remember hearing someone say, read the Bible cover to cover like a storybook. I was like, okay. I think I got to Deuteronomy, and every time I read half a verse, I fell asleep.
Yeah. Been there.
So I was like, okay, this isn't going to work for me. But then shortly after that, we got the internet, and I was trying to remember, the name of what all this was, the public famous name, at that time, Wicca. And I remember a story that a friend of mine shared with me, or not a story, sorry. Anyways, I saw somebody walking across the street in a cloak one day, and I asked my friend, I was like, what's up with the cloak? Because I thought Renfest was the first thing popped in my head. He goes, oh, well, he's probably Wiccan. And I go, what's Wicca?
What's that?
He goes,
Yeah.
He's like, basically what we do, only they need tools and candles and this and that. And, I was an arrogant little prick back then, so I was laughing my head off at that time.
Mhm.
But when that word popped into my head, I was like, okay. So, and, this is back when internet was dial up. I did my search for Wicca, and I found web pages popping up left and right, chat rooms and message boards, and I was like, whoa. I started reading a couple of them, and I had the smarts to, for every subject, every particular subject within the umbrella of Wicca that I came across, I would open up 3 more websites to compare and sort through the trash. And I started seeing the similarities and the patterns, and it was just like, this is it. This is what I've been doing all this time. This is what I've been looking for. This is the name of it for it. And that was back in '99. I dedicated that November. I got my first books, and leading up to the dedication, I was like, okay, so the first book that I picked up was Drawing Down the Moon by Margaret Adler.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I realized really quickly that it was a pretty dry read.
It is.
I told myself, if this path is correct for me, I will finish this book. And I did. And a couple weeks later, I did my dedication ceremony. And I haven't looked back.
Good. I think once you get started, you don't look back. You just kind of move forward. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's the beauty. The beauty of it is this. Like I said earlier, it's your path, so you can do what you want with it.
Well, it very much goes, whether you use witchcraft in a religious sense or not, it very much becomes not just a part of your personality, but like your entire life.
Yeah.
In a way, where like everything you do can benefit from your practice.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, should we go on to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's your favorite aspect of witchcraft? Like an example of spell casting, herbalism, divination. So, which one you guys want to answer that first?
I'll go. Honestly, I have to say my favorite aspect of witchcraft is probably divination. some of you guys might know, but I absolutely love the really weird divinations. I just find them super fascinating. Divinations, things like tarot cards. I personally read runes, bones, beans, ceromancy, which is smoke reading, black mirror scrying, candle reading, wax and fire, and augury, which is reading the behaviors of birds and animals. What about you guys?
Okay,
There
well,
you go.
I like spell casting. I think I like to do the healing spells. That seems to be my specialty because I just get a knack at it, I guess. I get the passion for it. I think I put a lot of passion into it. Other spells I like doing is, of course, money spells. Who doesn't? You know. I don't do as many money spells or prosperity spells like maybe others do. Just when I really, really need something. That's not that often. So I'm not wealthy, but I'm wealthy in friendship and family, and sometimes that's all you need. Herbalism, I'm kind of like a kitchen witch in a way. I'm always finding some new ways to cook something up, lotions or soaps too. Divination, tarot reader for over 30 years, I would say. I have done dice, coins, runes, let's see, scouring mirrors. I've done quite a bit. I dabble in some. My go-to is mostly tarot, I would say, or just a flip of a coin. So I don't do a reading on me every day like I used to. I used to do a 3-draw every day. I think the older you get, you kind of just get comfort in your own essence and everything, that you just kind of know your body, know your actions, know what you're going to do. It makes you better. The many years you are into the craft, the many years that you become a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, John, you're up.
Okay. I don't think I have one particular thing as a favorite. I mean, I have a few. I would say, like the rituals, the working with the group, the community when public events come together. I really love those. I'd love to get more into herbalism. Honestly, I need to do a deep dive in each category to get more in depth with stuff. But like, I have a very strong connection with plants. For example, my brother had a tea, herbal tea that he concocted one day, and it had other many ingredients. He had star anise in it, and just a whiff of that tea, and my energy just shot through the roof. My fingertips started tingling. I was just like, whoa. And I love crystals.
Who doesn't?
In fact, I got some hanging up on my wall that are part of my building. Divination, I really like. I have 2 tarot decks, but the way they behave more like an oracle deck. They will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Sometimes they're pretty blunt about it too. I also have some runes that I've been practicing with, and you know, I've kind of fallen out of practice lately because real life or mundane life kind of got in the way, and so I'm slowly getting back into my practice,
Mhm.
and it's just one step at a time. But a lot of energy work. Uh, I love working the basics because I don't need a lot of space or a lot of other things other than myself to do it.
Cool.
Then we have Darthos. I like when a ritual is built out of spells. Magical theater is less my thing. Then we have Justin. Hey, Nico. Hey, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
And then I've got an interesting place with my rune magic practice. I love rune magic.
Yes. Okay. Um, it's your turn, Nico. Nico, you go ahead and do the next question.
Chrissy, how would you incorporate witchcraft into your daily life?
Witchcraft in my daily life. This is easy. Maybe. No. I think it's in your daily life, no matter if you are a witch or not. You just don't realize it. Um, you know, when you make dinner, for example, you making that dinner, you thinking if everybody's gonna like this or no, maybe they don't like it. You want to add maybe something, special or something to it. So, you're getting the attentions of, I love my family. I wanted to make the food perfect. When you go outside, you can feel the air, smell flowers or any kind of essence. Um, so when garden, you make a garden. When you plant each garden and each seed that you plant, it's like the seed is going to help my family eat good, healthy. Affirmations in the morning. I do also rite of union that's in my path to get up every morning. I try to get up with a good, positive attitude. So I incorporate that. I incorporate everything I say and do, every kind word. I follow the Eightfold Path, the laws of attractions to the max. So, it's always good. Like if you're behind somebody in the grocery store that is just taking the sweet time, and you're in a hurry, think to yourself, am I really in that big of a hurry to really make a scene? Or can I just maybe help the person or just be patient? I think if we incorporate kindness into our life, it's probably one of the best magic of all. How about you, John?
Like you said, whether we realize it or not, or we don't feel it or not, or we're not focusing on it, it is a part of our lives and
Yeah.
everything that we do. It doesn't matter if are amped up in the moment and feeling super connected and supercharged, or if you're just drained and you're just struggling to make it through the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Um, everything is energy,
Yeah.
and everything that we do, we think, we say, we affects that energy that's around us. So we are always doing magic,
Mm-hmm.
uh, whether we really focus it or not. I I try every day to do my daily devotionals, which includes affirmations, a series of shielding exercises, grounding and centering. There's a couple variations that I use depending on the day. Uh, Lorica prayer that our temple had
Mm-hmm.
created, and that is available to the public.
Yeah.
and just trying to keep out of the stinking thinking and the negativity, and trying to find a balance in everything that I do.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of balance out there. Because I can tell you that.
I think for me, for my daily practice, so I wake up 2 hours before I have to go to work. And I sit down, meditate for about 15 minutes after I start my coffee pot, and then sit down, have my cup of coffee, and commune with the god and goddess, and light my incense, do my morning prayers, and kind of just spend some time in peace with the gods and get ready for work. And then I also do witchcraft as a side job. So there are nights when I leave my day job that I come home and do spells for others, whether those are healing spells, luck, money, love. Um, so there's almost always something going on the altar, whether for myself or somebody else. Ooh, Chrissy, you're muted. Did I? You're both muted. Chrissy, you're muted.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. The dog was barking. I was like, oh no. So, okay. So let's go to Eric. He is saying, I gotten into the habit of saying, I'm so happy now that my magic works as I'm drifting to sleep and then again as I wake, already affecting my dreams.
I like that.
I like that too. I really do. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. What's your go-to spell or ritual for a specific situation? Example of stress, full moon. And who wants to answer that one first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't really have a go-to spell or ritual. It's my personal practice is very intuitive. Um, so it's just if I feel the need to, you know, do a spell or do a working or a ritual, it's very fluid and intuitive. It's very in the moment. I don't
Mhm.
have anything written down. I don't have anything planned. It just flows. Um,
Oh, that's how I feel. I don't really have a go-to spell. Um, I do a lot of meditation when I do spells or anything. Um, and that really helps me a lot. That's my go-to. That and journaling. I love to write, and I can write a book. um, if I do have to do a spell, it just depends on what I need to go to that spell. If it's health, healing. If it's stress, kind of like calmness or something. Um, I that's about it, really. Okay, Nico, how about you?
Uh, so, as a folk practitioner, sometimes known as a non-ceremonial or low magic practitioner, spell work's a lot different for me, where things are much simpler, and I absolutely love it. So spell work for me looks a lot different than it does when you're working within like Strega or other traditions, where I do a lot of prosperity magic, and in this economy, I think everybody should be. But that is like the lucky $2 bill in my wallet, the money bowl that sits on my altar, which is grains, um, basil, cinnamon, green crystals, coins, and if I spend any cash over the weekend or while I'm out, I bring my change back and it goes in the money jar. And every time that I add something to my money jar, you get that little boost of luck. I'll find $5 on the ground, or one of my family members will be like, "Hey, we just had the peach tree drop a bunch of fruit. Come over, take a bucket."
Yeah.
Things like that, where it's not always money, but there's always an abundance of something positive coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of my go-tos as far as like we don't like everything's paid at the end of the month, but I think just as a human, we always strive to have that little bit of extra change sitting around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's always things we want to do, and especially if you go to a shop, you want, oh, more crystals or
Mhm.
tarot deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about let's go on to the next question. Okay, Eric, the rune magic has become the way I do most of my spells these days, though I will add a candle, spell, incense, color, etc. I was taught to bring all of my senses to my magic. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. You are the spell. You have to make it happen.
Oh
So
yeah.
without your senses and um your magic, your energy, you have to make that happen. So yes, definitely. Nico, how about the next question?
Chrissy, what is the one thing you wish you knew when you started your witchcraft journey?
Hmm. Hmm. It's a tough one. It really is. Oh, I know. Huh. Tell you the truth. I guess it's like when you're starting a coven, you don't know what you're doing. You just kind of go with it because you've never been in a coven or anything. So, witchcraft is about the same way. If you've never been into it, you got to kind of go with the flow. And that's, what I do is go with the flow. If I get bite in the butt, I get bite in the butt. I learn my lesson. Um, so I think if I had to do everything over again, um, I think that I would probably research more, do more, look for more resources and stuff. I was taught by a teacher off the bat, um, and she was a great teacher, and I love her. Really good friends and everything. We still keep in contact, and just through her teachings, she more or less taught me what I needed to know. And she was strict. I mean, she wasn't a, let's go with the flow of things. Let's just, you do this and you do that. If you do it wrong, I'm going to tell you. But so actually, this question is a good question. Is this at my time back then? It just really, I had a great teacher, so it just really couldn't apply to me, I would say. How about you, Nick?
Oof. I have a couple ways I could answer this. Um, I'm gonna start with I wish when I first started that I realized that uh, tarot isn't the end all be all form of divination, and that there are so many other forms of divination that you can try. And if you're not good at one, that there are plenty of other systems to try. You do not have to be a proficient tarot reader to be a witch or to be a pagan. I was really hung up on that, and I really tried to force myself to memorize all these tarot spreads and the card meanings. And not saying that I can't read tarot like okay,
Hmm.
but I read other forms of divination so much more easily. And it's, when I picked up runes, they just clicked. And I think that was probably the one thing that I wish that I knew was that, when I first started practicing, which was in the like early to mid 2000s, and the market was flooded with books on Wicca and neo shamanism and all of these things on tarot. And then as we've kind of progressed since then, people are writing books on all these other forms of divination, and information's become more accessible. That if you don't have luck in one, try something else. I know plenty of people that can't, li- like me in astrology. I love astrology. I try my hardest, but it just does not make a lot of sense to me sometimes. And
It's
I know
very
some people that will just look at your the printout of your birth chart, and they can tell you everything that you ever wanted to know about yourself. And it's like I'm looking at a duck from the underside of the water.
yes, I can understand that. I can understand that. What you said about, divination and stuff, doing the tarot and stuff. I know plenty of witches who's like, they don't feel like they're a witch sometimes because they don't do the divination. They don't do tarot. They don't do runes. They don't do anything like that. And, that does not make you to be who you want to be. It's just an advance. That's all.
Mhm. It's just one facet of a
Yeah,
very large
yeah,
practice.
it is.
It
Okay,
just
Johnny boy.
so happens that that's not their particular focus.
Hmm.
True.
I mean, one thing that I wish that I had done in the beginning of my journey, especially during my formal training, is, I mean, going through all the lessons and everything was great. I mean, it explained things the way Christopher explained things. Everything made sense for the first time in my life about this path. It wasn't just do it this way, or this is how you do it, this is when you do it, but it was also the how and the why. Why does it work? Um, and also, you know, he wasn't afraid to say, "This is how I was taught, and it works for me.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works for you."
Hmm.
He didn't bout, but so each lesson is getting a little bit into the subject. It's not get a deep dive, but it's to get your feet wet and see how each subject clicks with you. And if you and then it leaves it up to you to do the deep dive if you want to really study that particular subject. I wish if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would have taken longer in each particular subject, gotten a deeper understanding of it, deeper dive. But it's kind of a catch 22 for me because I'm ADHD. I'm
Hmm.
neurodivergent. So for me, it's okay, we learned this great. What's next? Okay, yeah, that's awesome. This works. What's next? It takes a lot longer for me to digest and integrate the information deeply. And I'm fortunate enough that the higher level courses, the books are published that I was able to read ahead and get into the last towards the last three books. I'm seeing the deeper pattern, the bigger picture, and it's all starting to click more. And so it makes me want to go back to the beginning and do it all again.
Yes. Okay, Nick? I guess you can take the next question to ask.
How do you balance witchcraft and life and other, work and family?
I feel like you made this question for me. uh, and like I was saying earlier in the introduction, we used to do pagan pride, pagan events. We had a coven. We taught at the UU churches. 4 kids, 2 jobs because I had to take on an extra job because my husband was handicapped. And how did I fit all of this in? Okay, goddess, I don't know. I will say the goddess just she pushed me. She says, "You can do this. You can do this." I remember sleeping about 4 to 5 hours a night in between jobs and taking care of family and everything. Um, and the coven work, I used to stay up late at night with my husband. We used to take the lessons, revise the lessons, did rituals and stuff. With the pagan events, it was contacting the vendors, the park, the insurance, and entertainment, and everything. I worked almost probably, I would say, 20 hours a day, getting all this done. And to this day, I look back and I wonder how in the hell am I still alive? I don't really, I don't know how I did that all. And I just have to say that God has just pushed me. She just says, "You can do this. You have a coven. This coven is, I give this coven to you guys. This is my coven." You know, that's another story how we came up with the name of the coven. And she pushed me on when somebody asked us if we teach at the UU churches. And I was like, God, how do I fit this in? She made time for me to fit it in. Um, so, yeah, it's just, I would just have to say everything I have done in the past 30 years, mostly with the coven and the pagan events, family, has been talking to her and says, "Okay, God is give me the strength to do this," you know. And she did. So
So
yeah,
Amber gets it from you.
she might, yeah, she might got it from me. She's a little mini me, but don't tell her that. She will deny it. So, but yeah, she is a mini me, but another mini me of her. So
Yeah.
See, I think I'm in the same boat. So I have a day job and do that my 40 hours a week. Uh, we have our Within the Cauldron discussions every 2 weeks. And the research for that, I run a coven out of town here and do local pagan events and, family. I'm married, home life, uh, and all of the extracurriculars. And weirdly, like, it's just a lot of scheduling. And, like, when am I free? Like, when can I fit this in? Like, I'm sitting at home after work doing this day. So let's, take an hour here, carve an hour out there. Like this, I do like 4 different things on Sunday, fit a client in after this one. There's always when this is your life and your priority, you find ways to make time.
yeah,
And, if that means that I'm up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing spell work, then my coffee's going to be extra strong. And we'll get through the workday, or hopefully that was on a weekend. But if it's not, then
yeah.
we make it work.
It's
How about
time
you, Jenny?
management. Yeah,
Mhm. A
it
lot
has
of time management.
time management. Yes, and apparently I must have been good at it. So,
Mhm.
how about you, John?
Time management's a skill that still seems to be just beyond my grasp. um, when I was married, and we were living under the same roof with the kids and everything, and working and taking care of family. It was hard, but I was still able to take my classes and everything. My weekends got chopped up between family time and class time, and but found a way to make it work. And luckily, the classes were only once a month. But as time went on, and you know more things in my mundane life became more of a priority, really struggled with my practice. And I reached out to my teacher, and I explained to them about why I'm falling behind on my homework, and that I was struggling emotionally and mentally about what I felt was slipping on my practice. And he pointed out that sometimes we just need to focus more on one thing or another. And even if we just spend 5 minutes to say hello, Lord and Lady, you look beautiful today. You know,
Mhm.
the little things, that's enough. You're still doing something. It took me a little while to get used to that, but it's helped. It got me through a lot, still getting me through, today. It got me to where I was able to finish my W-2 classes and get my priest status or title. Um, but I also know that I'm at a point in my life right now where I have to pause future training or further training, um, so that I can get my mundane life in order enough for
Mhm.
me to carry on through the rest of my training to become an ordained minister and a high priest
Mhm.
in my tradition. It's a longer road than I expected, but you know, thankfully, Hecate's been very patient with me.
Mhm. No, I don't
She will
know.
nip me in the butt from time to time, but
Some traditions, especially the larger ones, have scholarships.
yeah.
That may be something to look into too.
I've talked to him about it in the past, and there was um, the way certain things were structured at that time. It wasn't conducive with my current situation.
No problem. I just figured I'd remind you if you hadn't explored that yet.
Yeah.
Oh. Uh, Eric. Oh yeah, I'm neurospicy as well. I noticed that I can force my chi to do things in class, but adding it to my collection of things I can do takes more work. Yeah,
Hmm.
it it does. It does.
I I'm constantly so when you get to the point that you're doing like teaching and like trying to help others through things, like some of the stuff that I just do, I have to sit there and like reverse engineer it and figure out like, okay, now how do I teach this? How do I explain to somebody else what I'm doing?
Right.
That's the hard
It, it is. It really is.
And
Oh,
that's one of the things that kept me from teaching my kids when I was younger because I
part.
couldn't figure out how to explain it to them in a way that
Yeah.
they could understand.
Mm,
yeah. It was easy teaching my kids. I guess. Well, there was always around. I mean, the coven come over to our house was the coven's dad, and my kids was there with us. We didn't shoot them away or nothing. It was like mom and dad's going to do this and everything. So that's all they knew. And they kind of fell into it, and I'm surprised they
What
took
they
it up
grew up with,
themselves.
that's
Yeah,
what they do.
they grew up with it. So
Ooh, that's a really good question, Darthos. How do you explain to a visual and verbal learner when you practice by feel? That's part of my problem. So I practice by feel and sight. So I see energies, see spirits, and feel energies. And at least being visual as well, I can be like, okay, you're gonna like picture a sparkly blue color and you're gonna like make a blanket over somebody and like wrap them up in that. And that's really good for when somebody's sick or they have a fever. And but trying to explain that to somebody with atanphasia, which is the thing where people don't picture things in their head, and then they're not like a tactile learner, I'm stumped. I have that problem with one of my students where I write down as much of it as I can and give it to him, and then let him try to figure it out. But I understand that there's some things that I may not be able to teach them just because their senses are different than mine.
yeah,
Yeah. You
and it
could
must be.
try, especially if you have friends in theater, props.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I use kind of like a kindergarten level. I try to explain to them on like a little kid's level and stuff, and because sometimes we all have a kid inside of us always, and sometimes it's easier to explain somebody a little kid way than it is a grown up way because they can relate to it more sometimes. So that's we always did for visual like that with our students. It has always worked. So, but I agree with Nick. It's kind of like a family thing. We energies feeling that seems to go with our family. So, next question.
Let's see. What is your favorite witchy resource? So, books, podcasts, social media influencers, authors.
It really depends. If it's about crystals or herbs, Scott Cunningham's books.
Yes.
I will rip them right off the shelf and flip through them real quick. Other aspects of witchcraft, for the most part, it's my Temple Witchcraft series books and other books that Christopher's written.
Yeah.
Um, Other topics, things that I don't usually invest in or investigate. I'll go look for YouTube or podcasts, and I'll listen to some of them for a while, and then, of course, my squirrel, and I'm off to the races. So
I think that's how I am. If it's something we do discussions on Discord, every 2 weeks, and within the quadrant, and it's just something that I need to brush up on or don't really know nothing about. I would go to YouTube podcasts, see which one's the best ones. I would look at books that's recommended by someone or if I had the books, I read them myself, kind of like speed read them and everything. Since I'm from the Siguri path from Strega, I take from. I watched the podcast of Lori Bruno too. She is Levikian through and through. Also take a look at Raven Gramasi's books, of course, and I just kind of. I think it just depends what I am actually searching for at that time.
Mhm.
Crystals, Scott Cunningham, hands down. You know, I'm not. I'm just getting into podcasts maybe a few years ago. Usually I just dependent on books and everything, but that's that's about what I do. How about you, Nick?
So, like both of you guys, I'm a voracious learner. Um, I and being in a folk magic tradition, trying to learn new things is kind of difficult. It's become more popular recently, but a lot of it's an oral tradition. So finding physical resources is difficult. So a lot of it comes from historical texts or, books from the 15th through the 19th centuries. Um, so a lot of these are on like Project Gutenberg or other sites like oh, that's what is that? Pertheos. There are a lot of like free spiritual sites that have books, and they have a lot of old out of print books. Otherwise, there are some absolutely fabulous YouTubers here, like the Spartakonster, which is a German folk practitioner, um, the Hearth Witch, who's another folk practitioner. Um, but if it's magic related, I try to get my hands on it, and whether it's within my own practice or outside of my own practice, because whether I'm going to use that information or for discussions or just so that I have it, so when somebody asks me, "Hey, what do you know about you know this practice?" and be like, "Hey, here's some books. I've read them. They're pretty good," or you know. These authors I don't agree with. I don't like the books. Look at other ones besides this. And it's reading is always been like a huge thing for me. I have tons of books and like my to be read pile I think right now is over 100 books and I kind of hate it but I really enjoy it too.
We all do, I think.
Because it doesn't decrease. Like it's not like I finish a book and then add another one. It's somebody comes out with another book, so or I find a collection of old um like folklore books and then my pile grows by like 30 books at a time. Like and at some point I'm just going to be like drowning in a library, but I'm okay with that.
I
um,
think every major city should have a public witches library. But,
yeah,
that's just
I do
me.
too.
Well, that's actually an interesting thing. So you can have books ordered to your local library. So you can talk with the librarians, and they will, if they don't have books on what you're looking for, they have catalogs and like resources where they can order in books. And you may be able to help other people in your community who don't have access to them. Because you want to read it, that means that that library now has it. And chances are, unless you live in a very small town, you're probably not the only one interested. And even if you are in a small town, like, there's plenty of them that are.
Yeah. Yeah, libraries don't have too much on anything, unless you ask, like you said.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the next question we have is what do you hope to share or explore on this podcast? Who wants to
Ooh.
go first?
I look forward to, well, I mean, everything, but I absolutely love talking about folklore and deities and like the the weird witchy things that I'm afraid are going to get lost in modern society. So I love historical witchcraft and I have a soft spot for it. And I'm one of those people that will go dig through a bunch of archives and find really, really old witchcraft books and go through them. But then that means I have to make the responsible decision of is this something we need to bring back? does this have value in a historical context, or do we need to modernize this, or is this a problem and I need to forget that I ever saw it?
For me, I think what I'd like to share would be just a lot of knowledge. I also like to learn some knowledge as well because, go along with knowing is also learning too. Um, I like to interact with, I guess, panelists and, pick their brain, have them pick my brain. To me, I think it's just, I want to explore meeting new people, networking, finding new things, experiencing new things. Um, None of us is going to be correct on anything. Um, and none of us would be incorrect either. It's just going to be, it's just a balance of what you say and what she say. That's it.
Their own experiences from our own practices, and
Right. And
mileage
it's,
may vary.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's nice to know. And that's what I kind of want to explore and be a podcast. So, how about you, John?
As far as learning, everything, anything I get my hands on.
I know.
That's also the jack of all trades of me. Um, but also helping people out, sharing my experiences, my insights, and you know, my views on things. And if it helps them, great. If it doesn't, that's great too. Everybody's on their own path, but it's part of my way of giving back to the community, of being of service to the community, is to help and give advice. Uh, I I would like to teach. I don't know if I have it in me, but I could definitely guide and give advice.
I think you have it in
And
you.
as Nico was pointing out about the books, keeping it in circulation, keeping it alive. It's like, yeah, we our modern society has a tendency of twisting and warping things to make it pop and flashy and cool. Sometimes we just got to keep it witchy.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. That's true. That is very true. I mean, I think I did my time with the community for over 30 years, bringing pagan events and even teaching. So it's kind of nice to have something fresh to do, a new chapter. And I think having this podcast, you know, it's just been a new chapter and something that I can say I did something like that. So
Mhm.
that's about it. So okay, let's go to Eric. What he has. Uh, where were we with him? Okay, go ahead, Nick.
I found my magic became more effective when I stopped wasting energy trying to make things visible. Well, that's part of the witch's pyramid, which is to work within secrecy, and
Hmm.
not saying that you have to like hide what you're doing all of the time, but things don't need to be flashy,
Right.
and you can be selective on who has access to that information. I mean, unless you're using it for the psychological effects of I'm praying for you, or the negative side of that where you're going baneful work and you want to scare the daylights out of somebody, so you go send them a picture of what's on their doorstep.
Yep.
And
And the book.
then
Go ahead.
the Book of Stones is where I go for crystals. That is a good one. I have that set too.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's on my
the,
list.
it's
It is
it's
a
a
good
very
book.
good one. Uh, and then I loved being in working groups when we were just practicing. That's probably one of my favorite things, where I love all the facets of my practice, but getting together with community and doing the like public rites and rituals and just being able to be one of the pillars in a community and be there to support everybody is one of my absolute favorite things.
Yeah. So, should we go on to the next question?
I think that was our last question.
No, I think we got two more. No,
Uh,
no,
I
maybe
think
we
that was it.
don't. I guess we don't. I'm sorry. Okay. I want more questions. No, it's
oh no,
okay.
no, we missed one.
I thought we did.
Yep. How do you define your personal witchy practice style? We kind of covered this one already, but
Yeah, we did. I think we did in the intro, but I'm more of a tradition witch, but I'm also open to learning about other paths. Always have been. So, but my first love would be tradition.
so I am first and foremost a folk practitioner, a folk witch. Um, that's generally what I tell everybody. Like that, like as far as like a sum of my practice, I'm also in the Stregovikia tradition and the Cuaria tradition, and then I worship the Norse pantheon. So some of all that, whether you want to call me an eclectic pagan, a traditional folk witch, I'm open.
Yeah.
I guess you can call me a melting pot. So on a personal level, I'm more solitary, but I'm eclectic. Um, as but I also love working within a tradition, and as I do more, as I get to the point where I'm able to do more public, official tradition, public working, it will be within the structure of of my specific tradition. Um, but I also love the fact to be able to just dip out and do my own thing. And so, I mean, I can struggle through doing things like finding the planetary hours and the astrological alignments, but I'm also intuitive enough and practiced enough with energy work that I could do a full moon ritual on a new moon or a new moon spell on a full moon and have very little outside influence on the energy that I'm working with.
Well, I think that's the thing that a lot of people forget is that the the tools and the like solar placements and like the herbs and everything are there to boost the spell. It's not the end all. If I don't have this
Yeah.
ingredient or this crystal or it's the wrong day, the wrong moon phase, if you need to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Like
And a lot of people
regardless of
fall
what
into
you
that
have.
trapping.
Yeah, regardless of what you have, if your need for it is enough, do it.
Yeah,
Because what's the worst that happens? It doesn't
right.
work and you have to redo it when it does happen?
Yep.
And that feeling to do it, you know, we typically call it intuition, but it could be your intuition, it could be your higher self telling you that this needs to be done now, or it could be your god and goddess saying, "Hey, I don't care what I don't care if Saturn, Uranus, Neptune are in conjunction, and Mercury and Pluto are in retrograde. You're do this and do it now.
Mm. When you
Don't
get
make me
working
come
with
down there."
deities, oh yeah, the deities and spirits make demands, and you know they know what's going on, or they don't care. Or you have,
You know,
I'm broke now, and it's the new moon, and I'm gonna do a money spell, and or like for me as a folk practitioner, past knowing what the moon phase is, or like the base of like what's the sun and moon in, like are we in Leo, Capricorn, like what month is it?
Yeah.
Astrology doesn't factor into my practice, which is probably part of the reason that I'm in this practice, because as I've stated, astrology is not my strong suit. It
See, and
fascinates me. Like ceremonial magic is super fascinating, but
yeah,
I see a level of like it's impractical to me to a point where like does it work? Yes. Am
Yeah.
I gonna wait 3 years and then take a day off of work to do a specific working? No.
no. And
I
I think that's why chaos magic came about.
yeah.
Yes. And
Yes.
on that note, Darthos says Chaos Mage is probably what fits me best.
Well, you guys, since we got the Q&As done for each other, I'd like to touch base on the future of podcasts. Nico and I and my two daughters and my husband has been working a lot, thinking a lot, bouncing around ideas and everything. Um, to know me is to know that I like to dive in the deep end of the water and just swim for my life. So, and that's what pretty much what I did, right, Nick? uh, so I have been working on guests and everything. Okay, I'm an '80s kid. Well, I should say I'm a '70s kid, but I grew up in the '80s. Read bunch of the pioneers of witchcraft. Um, that is still out there and it's still good to read. Um, doing pagan events for years and everything. I have a lot of contacts. And next week, next Wednesday, I don't know if you guys know Tish Owen. Anybody knows Tish? She wrote, well, I know she has 4 books. Chasing the Rainbow was one of the books that I read because it had to deal with pagan festivals and stuff. And then I got hooked. I got hooked on her. And she did spell it correctly, which
Mhm.
is also a great book. And she will be here next Wednesday talking to us. And we'll be interviewing her. And she'll be, going with the flow of things and talking and everything. So I'm really excited. So once again, that's Tish On. So look her up if you don't know who she is, and if you do, be here because it's going to be great. I'm so excited, and she's actually going to be our first guest. After that, we
The
got
second guest, because we have John
second
over
guest.
here in the
Well,
corner.
yeah, John. Yes, excuse me, John. You are a guest. Believe me. You're
Our
welcome
first
anytime.
author on the channel.
First author, yeah. A
Yeah, but see,
second
I'm
one.
so much like family that it doesn't,
I
it's not that big
know.
of a deal if I'm here or there. So
I know. Yeah, you're just like a little brother. I just kind of
We've known him for
you
almost
known it.
8 years.
Yeah, you've known him for 8, 9 years. So we just like, oh, he's just a little brother. So he's somebody special, but he's just a little brother. So, um, but we are
John,
going.
you're special.
Thunder says you're special to him. So, okay. So anyway, on the 18th, I think that is, we are going to have a tarot talk with 3 of our tarot readers that's in within the quadrant: Shelby, Tiffany, and Tony. Um, we So if you have any questions you want to ask them about tarot, they've been doing more years than probably Nico and I have. So yeah, it would be nice to have them on. On the 25th, another pioneer. Maybe I'm gonna see if you guys can guess. If I say he did the book called Wiccan Warrior, who would you think of?
I gotta go look.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I'm drawing a blank, but for some reason the name Devin keeps popping in my head.
No.
I don't think it's him.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Who?
Kerr Quillian.
Yep, that's
Oh.
right. He would be here to talk. Interview about his past books and what he's working on too. He also does. I think he does like crime books too, mystery books as well. That is not pagan based. So we'd be interested to talk to him. The week in October 2nd and 9th, Nico and probably Amber will be on, even you, John, to come up wherever you want to come up with. Because I'll be gone on vacation to New England. When I come back, Mike Nichols. Anybody knows Mike Nichols? Another pioneer. Witches Sabbaths, the book. He will be on talking to us. And there's another one. We don't have the date in. We just have a yes, he will do it. It's just that October is a busy time a year for witches, as you know. But we're going to have Matt Arn on.
Ah.
Yes, he's going to talk about his book, Psychic Witches, a master of witchcraft. He's also a Cabot. I think he's also with Christopher Pensac too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, so he would be coming on too. So that is a lineup so far. So we start working on it for future. We probably will have Penny Cabot or Lori Cabot on as well, future. Maybe Laura Bruno. I'm putting myself out there for everybody to say, hey, come and join us. Of course, we take requests on who you would like for us to interview,
If
for
we can get
somebody
hold
to
of
pop
them,
up.
or topics we can cover.
Topics, yeah. So this podcast is just not for us; it's for you. It's for the audience out there to feel like it's safe just to come in and chit chat if they want, or chat through the chat box. Be on the panel. Everything.
Okay. And
Our
we're on Facebook on Within the Cauldron, and YouTube under Within the Cauldron Glows. And you may find
Discord.
us, Discord under Within the Cauldron, and you may find us under Spotify or YouTube Music soon.
Yeah.
Once I figure out how to rip the files from this and I can upload them.
Yeah. And Eric, yes. Orion Foxwood, Jason Miller, and Storm Fairy-Wolf. I will try my best. I will. Kristen, well, a lot of podcast lineup. Yeah, we've been busy. We've been really, really busy. So
this is what she does to us, though. It's
hey, we're doing this. What? Okay.
It started on Wednesday. I want to launch the podcast. Okay, what do we need to launch the podcast? Okay. Got the platform.
I'm not pushy. I'm not pushy though. I'm not pushy. I'm not in control.
No, you bring it up and we make it happen.
Liar.
I'm just passionate. I'm passionate about the craft. I am passionate about letting people know about the craft. I'm passionate just to be yourself. Um, I always tell everybody in life, be you. And that's what I'm being. I'm being myself of being silly, lame, or whatever, just to be out there
Oh
and
yeah.
looking funny. So
Well, you love throwing your students and friends into the deep end of the pool, and I mean you'll throw us the life vest,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
like to see how far we can swim first.
Yeah, yeah, you're like my babies. I take my babies and I push in the deep end. I go, swim, my pretties, swim. And if you don't swim, I will, dive in and get you, of course, and save you. But, you know, that's, oh, but, but the way to be is just to dive in and get your feet wet and swim. So swim or drown. And you better swim. So I never had anybody who drowned. So I think Nico's getting used to me by now. So
Oh yeah.
see what
No,
Amy and Amber had to put up with the years. So
no, I'm
this,
not. I'm
this
never
is why they call me
surprised
crazy.
how many pies she has her fingers in. I am always surprised when she pulls like some of her past networking out of her little book there, and I'm just like, how do you know these people? Like, what do you mean you just messaged them and they said yes without like anything, or where it's just like
Oh,
it just blows my mind, and then I'm sitting here like looking over at like all of the networks that I've built up over the years, and I'm sitting there like, wow, I'm getting there, but it's like it's just so cool where there's just so many connections across, and
Yeah.
like how simultaneously how large and how small the pagan community across the US is, where
hmm,
it's like different authors that we've met or
yeah,
seen at events, or like just friends that started writing books,
yeah.
and it's like now they're a kind of famous author, and or you get put in a book club, and the next thing you know, the one of the ladies in your book club's been on national television as a witch, and it's like, okay, cool.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of writing a book, yeah, I should probably get back to mine sometime. I think I got like half a book. Um, but I am writing a book about coven and community. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because there is good, there is bad, and sometimes it's the downright ugly. But it's going to be the truth book. I probably won't have no friends after the book, which is fine. I got family. So, if I have Nico as my cousin and John as my friend, I'm good. I'm good.
Well,
But
see, you change the names of the people in the book, then who knows, and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
well.
you don't make
oh,
it an
they would
expose.
know. Yeah, I changed the name so they would know. They would know. So, yeah, I'm not going to hold back anything. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's one reason why I'm not finishing it, because I'm just like, oh, maybe I were better rethink this. But if it happens, it happens. So, and yes, Kristen, I have always been a real go-getter. I don't know why. It's just in my blood, I guess. And yes, we do have a lot of lineup too. Yeah. So
In regards to the book, if it blows up on you, what's the worst that can happen? You get a little more quiet nights and weekends.
true. True. Yeah. It will. Or I'll be on the next Drew Barrymore, some kind of talk show of being the witch that told it all. So, I have some stories. Speaking of stories, or I should say lineup, is we also would do a podcast on leadership
Mm,
Mm,
and on witch wars too, because
yeah.
there's a lot of wars out there. and everything. And so,
Yeah, Witch Wars, Baneful Practitioner, or
mm,
Baneful Magic,
yep.
psychic mediums.
Mhm.
We want to kind of dabble everywhere we can, and if we don't do it, we'll find somebody that does.
Yep. And believe me, I will find somebody. I will find you. Okay, that is a warning. I am coming
Uh,
after you for authors, musicians, whoever. I be on your butt. I'm coming after you. You can be on this podcast one way or another. I don't know how, but it will. So, um, yes, Dee Dee, I love you too. My bestie from Colorado. You know, it's really nice to have friends on here as well to support you. Thank you, you guys, for support. Please, please have your friends subscribe. Um, we're not in it to be millionaires or nothing like that. We're just in it because we want to educate. We want to talk about the craft. We're passionate about it. And we want to share that passion with everybody.
Oh yeah.
And yes, I am probably the crazy woman my daughters was talking about. Nick knows that, so does John. Yes, share the love. That's right, Eric. Gotta share the love. I have a lot of love to share. So, anything else before we end this podcast? Oh, I forgot. We will be on Saturday, I guess. Is that right, Nico?
I think we'll do a brief live on Saturday. I will post scheduling once I know more about what works for everybody.
Okay.
But I think the girls were free on Saturday, so we will bring them up, introduce them, and have a good little chat and see where we go.
Yep. See where we go. You would love Amy and Amber. They're not twins. I just named them Amy and Amber because I like the names. So, um, my daughters, Nico's cousins, John's friends, um, they'll be here. They both got small kids, school night, so dinner, everything. But we will have the shows on every Wednesday with our guests. Since our guests is the ones that like to do it in the middle of the week, because weekends are usually they're busy times to travel and doing events or workshops or something. So we'd like to accommodate with them, and Wednesday seems to be a good day for them.
Mm-hmm.
But we will pop in now and then to have a video or random chats, whatever.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody who's subscribed to us to help us make this happen.
Yes.
Everybody that showed up to watch us here on Facebook. And without you guys, honestly, we wouldn't be here doing it.
That is for sure. That is really for sure. We want to thank everybody for doing that because I don't know if you are on the Facebook within the Cargen, but we try to make a daily question a day. Some might be lame, but we just want to everybody to participate as much as they can. And we do have discussions every 2 weeks on a Sunday on Discord. And now we have this podcast. So
Mhm.
we're just trying to reach out to everybody. And I want to get a shout out to my good friend, Laura. Thank you, honey, for coming. Um, thank you for saying it's a great show. We don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it. That's it.
Fly by
So,
the seat of your pants. What do they say? Fake it till you make it.
yeah. Well, like
Well,
I
you know,
said,
that's a large part of
I
life. So, you know.
Mhm. This is our first podcast. This is my first time trying to run any of the software, and
Mhm.
we're streaming on multiple platforms at the same time, and we had some hiccups earlier where I tried to set everything up through my personal YouTube and not our brand page, and I was wondering why it said that I couldn't go live when I read the requirements, and it said that well, what I saw was I met the requirements, and then I'm looking up in the corner and I see my initials up in the corner and not within the cauldron in the corner, and it's like, oh god. I was viewing it on our page as my personal page and trying to go live on my account that has no followers. Which is why you were freaking out earlier. Like, there's technical difficulties. I can't go live. What's going on?
I was being patient. I was being patient. I was like, okay, it's yes and a no, then a yes and a no, and now it's a yes. So I was being patient because, you know, it happens.
Yeah, and we're
So,
in the shadow phase of Mercury retrograde until
yeah.
I
the
know why.
11th.
I know why. I know
Yeah,
why.
I'm pretty sure Thunder was sitting there just kind of patting you out the back saying, come on, just breathe, honey, breathe. You'll be all right.
Oh, you know what
I
he
was the one
did?
freaking out.
No, you know what he did? He went on YouTube and he was watching us on YouTube when he was listening to us on here. And he was like, look, honey, you're on TV. I was like, oh my gosh.
She started grinning ear to ear.
I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, but
Hey, you got 50,000 followers. What do you think?
we got yeah. So yeah, he's our support system too. You know, he was the one that I kept saying, "Oh, guess who? We got Tish, we got Mike, we got Kerr. We getting all these other. We got Matt and everything." He's just like, "Well, honey, that is so good. I'm so proud of you." Instead of saying, "Honey, that's great." No, I just get a very patient husband that says, "Oh, honey, that's so good." So. But I'm excited. So I hope everybody else is excited too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
great
this
coming.
is going to be something good. It's going to be something really special.
It's just going to be silly. So, but it's going to be good. Yes. I hope it's going to be good. So when I start seeing people coming in with, you know, viewing us and everything, then I'll be like, oh my God, this is real. Then I'd be like, oh, wow. Okay. Nice. So it's not my strong. Kristen says it's not my strong suit. If you got gardening or cat or chicken questions, I am your man. Okay, Miss Mills, you will be our man on those questions.
Wow.
So, oh,
Sure.
oh. We should have Thunder say hi to everybody because I'm keep looking at him and talking. I'm not crazy. There is somebody here. See, here he is. So
Hey,
I'm
Chris.
not crazy. He's here. He's a quiet one. I'm the loud one. So used to be he was a loud one and I was a quiet one. So, but guys, what's next?
Anything and everything.
Everything. Yes, Laura, I can't wait to see you. We're going to visit Laura in a New England trip around October. So I'm so excited because it's been such a long time. And don't make me cry because I just love her and I'm going to hug her and hug her. And probably be her shadow for 2 days. So, so I'm very pleased to have her as my friend, as my teacher, and everything. I owe her a lot. So we both do. So. Oh yes, definitely be doing a lot of Richie stuff together. I'm so excited. So okay, I'm acting like a little kid now. I'm sorry.
But
Be
that's the best. You
composed.
have to have that. You have to have that in the craft.
Yeah, you do. You do. You know, I learned from her a long time ago that gods like laughter too. You know.
And I think that's part of why we as adults got into this is we never lost that childhood wonder, or we had to rediscover that childhood wonder of the simple things, the little joys, the blowing dandelions for wishes, and
Mm-hmm.
going
Yes.
and making our little herbal potions and bath products, and what's that besides letting your inner child play and have fun. And I think that's
Mhm.
one of the most beautiful facets of the craft is just letting your inner child play.
Yeah, have fun with that. Um, I mean, you take it seriously, yes, but also have fun with it too. If you mess up, oh, you messed up. And
Mhm.
laughed at it. The gods are laughing at you. Like, look at those people. Think they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
So,
and give yourself grace. Honestly, if you miss the full moon and or you didn't put out your offering, or
mhm,
you know you forgot to do a spell you wanted to, you didn't
right.
do your tarot pull for the day. Like
Hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, if you need to do it, do it. But honestly, being imperfect in this culture, lifestyle, religion path is not a bad thing. And everybody messes up. We're all human. And
That's true.
I have a perfect story about that too. And it kind of goes into the don't take things so seriously. We were in the middle of a litha ritual. We were closing, you know, um, releasing the quarters, and the leader of our meetup group, which usually played the role of high priestess of the circles, was calling or releasing the western quarter. She's like, she calls out, "I call out to the guardian of the elephant of the west." Everybody starts laughing, and nobody freaked out about it. Nobody got struck down by lightning. We just kind of had a good laugh, and then we carried on. Um, and see, Laura says actually the gods have a great sense of humor as well. Yeah, and sometimes they have a twisted sense of humor, but
oh yeah,
Yes. Oh, yes. There's stories to be told, but for another time. So
maybe after hours.
maybe after hours. Yeah. So is this considered after hours now?
I think so.
I think
Oh,
so. But
We do still have to keep it PG-13,
yeah,
but
I try to. I will. Actually, you don't have to worry about me. It's my other half, Thunder, you have to worry about. He's the
Well,
one.
I'm getting drug into.
You have to keep it PG.
Huh?
You have to
well,
keep it
PG-13.
PG-13 on the podcast. So,
Swearing
PG.
occasionally.
What kind of show you guys running here? Come
So
on.
I set it up so that not suitable for children, but not 18 plus.
I'm out of here, man. I'm an Aquarius. I can't do this. Oh my
Because
god.
that's no, because honestly,
oh,
I
dude.
think that encompasses most people that are actively practicing. Most people aren't going to be younger. I wouldn't expect somebody younger than 13 to be practicing or researching something like this, but I don't want to limit it to people that are over 18. besides like certain topics. Like obviously, if we're gonna
Right.
do like baneful work, like some of the like darker aspects of love magic, things like that,
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
topics are 18
Mhm.
plus.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of under 13, you know, my kids started when there was probably 9 or 10.
Mm,
So follow me around the circle, you know. Um, Amy and Amber copy me what I'm doing. Jay and Michael copying Chris what he's doing. So of course they've been to every pagan event that we have done. So that is almost, well, almost when they got grown up and they got 16 is like, oh, you know, but so almost. um that is another podcast that we can touch base on is pagan families
mm.
raising children and everything.
Oh yeah.
Amy and Amber especially, they're since they are ministers within the cauldron, they have stories of their mom and dad being busy on the community and coven work and teaching. Um, yeah, so there's ups and downs
Boys walking
to
in
it.
on us doing a
So
ritual
yeah,
when the females were all sky clad.
yeah, it's just there's just there's a lot of things that I look back on. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I spent a lot of time with the community and not enough time with my kids. But then my kids would say, "Oh no, mom, you spend time with us. We was just always at a pagan event." So I
Mm.
don't know if I should take that as a compliment or what. But
Well, I think it's a different perspective when you're raising kids in the tradition, like it just becomes a part of life. Where
yeah,
like for Christians, you go to church on Sunday and like going to church just part of your routine. Where
yeah,
going to these pagan events, festivals, you know, or sabbats and estimates, it just becomes a part of our traditions. These are our living
Yeah.
traditions.
So it's
oh
like, yeah, you were spending time with them. Now you weren't just teaching them the craft and the the spirituality of it all, but you're also teaching them the culture.
yeah, yeah. We did. I mean, we give them a choice when they turn a certain age. We're just like, okay, do you want to study with us or do you want to go to whatever path? And, Amber was always searching for something else too, but she always came back. So, which I respect that because, we should know about other paths too as
Yeah.
well
Mhm,
and, or other religions.
mhm,
And we should never, not ever belittle anybody if they're a Christian, a Mormon, or
mhm,
whatever they want to be. As long as you have a spirituality and you have the passion for it, and if you walk the talk and not
Yeah.
be fake, then you're fine.
mhm.
I don't like the ones that are fake. I I have a thing with that. Um, but that is also another story that
Mhm.
we can probably do a podcast on. So yeah, I better start writing these down because I'm gonna
Mhm.
forget.
Well, we
I'm
can
getting
go back and rewatch this too.
yeah,
We're recorded.
yeah,
And
true.
Laura said, I remember initiating Amber, and look where she's come to now. I'm so amazed. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's awesome. And Riley, she's 11 now, going to be 12 here in March, and
Mhm,
her interest is you know, coming to being swelling up like, oh, I want to
mhm,
learn and stuff. But I did my book of shadows. I've been redoing them, and oh my god, I have so many, uh, at least a dozen. And I'm just thinking, oh my god, these grandkids are going to look at this someday and
That
like,
is
oh
just
wow,
a dozen.
We don't have to do anything. Grandpa and Grandpa already did it all for us. So we don't have to research anything. But no, I
That
put
was
a
my problem, is because I have horrible handwriting and just my brain's chaotic,
yeah.
where I have like 5 or 6 like barely started or empty Book of Shadows.
Yeah.
And then I, during COVID, came across the concept of an online grimoire, and I ran with it. So I have my own private Discord server that
Oh,
I
that's
throw all of
awesome.
my spells in. And the thing that I like about it is it's searchable. So as long as you title your spells
Mm-hmm.
or your rituals or whatever you're looking for, you can search for keywords and then you can go through and find it like an index. And then you can structure the entire thing. So like I have one for, the Sabbats, where it's like all of my holiday rituals are in here.
Yeah.
And like it started out where anything that I came across that I liked, I would throw it in there and then put my source. And now, because I'm also writing a book, I I've made it far enough in my book only because I have all of these things already typed up, and I'm just going through my grimoire and ripping them over, and then I have my source right under it. If I didn't create it, who created it, where it's from, what book I pulled it out of, and I have to go in and put all my filler information in, but I'm sitting there going through all of this, and it's like, I'm doing it. And if you told me 10 years ago that I would be on a podcast, a high priest, running a coven, you know, running a pagan witchy group, being active in the like local pagan community, being respected in the pagan community, like I would have laughed at you. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, yeah, it's I guess after being, I mean, we've been in for like 30 some years into the community, and it's it's kind of like amazing. Like today, old friend reached out to us through Facebook message, and he was saying how much he missed us, and he only lives by an hour away, and he's like, we are so close living from each other that it's a shame that we don't get to see each other as much because of work, mundane, and everything. And he's right. I mean, he really got to me because he was tearing up. He was in the first time I met you guys was at Legis State Park. We was doing summer solstice. I think a year. I think it was like 1998, and it was our first event as a coven to go to because I network a lot to get everybody, our students, to meet other people, network and stuff. It was really important to me to do that. So he was saying, it's been 30 years ago, 31 years ago that he met us, and then we handfasted him and his wife. We was goddaughter to his first child and everything. And then he
Wow.
was, saying today, he goes, that was a very magical time to us become friends and everything. So it really made us cry because, if you don't know Thunder and I, we're very emotional at times. Um, so we have to make a trip to go. Well, we don't have to. We want to make a trip down there and spend a day with them. So, so it's really nice when you have others that come up to you and says, "You guys changed my life. You helped me found my path." Or I met Raven Gramasi. He's my hero, and everything. That's all the gratitude that we need. You know, I don't care if anybody says, "Oh, you did this and this and that." Credential is just credentials. That's all. Touching somebody's life is something that is worth it, 100%. Somebody come up to you and says, "Thank you, I found the goddess," or thank you. I got onto the right path. Thank you. I came out in the open. I feel better and everything. And that is that is love. That is pure love when somebody is thanking you for your spirituality. I mean, I can't say enough how much it makes anybody feel, because it's you have to experience it. You have to experience. And Nico, I think you're on a way. He's my apprentice.
I had a friend tell me that he cannot wait for the day that I have published my book, or we've succeeded in the podcast, and we become, have notoriety, and
Mhm,
he can tell people that he married me and my spouse, and we lived together for a time, and he's my best friend. And that brought me to tears, where I was like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily want to do this to get famous. I want to put out good information. I want to help people. I want to teach people.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm really here for. But it really brought a tear to my eye when he had so much pride in me, that he's like, how far you've come, and I'm proud of you, and I want to see you succeed and go farther.
Yeah. It's a
See, and
passion.
what you said right there about you're not doing this for fame, but the reasons why you're in for it, that's why you're a good leader of your coven, and that's why you're going to be a good leader, pillar of the community.
Thank you.
Yes. I always say to myself, I'm doing this from my heart and soul
Hmm.
because of the love of the goddess and the God, and what I want to share, what I experience with everyone. Um, you know, I don't know if there's a such thing to say there's something other than passion that's deeper than passion. I don't know. But, you know, for us, it's a passion. Um, in our heart and soul, we don't know nothing else. This is all we know, and this is all that we are passionate with. And, sharing that with others is this, it's a perfect high. I
Hmm.
put it that way. It's a perfect high.
I think that's why we were drawn into clergy in the pagan community, is that we care about our community and our friends and our family, and I'm here to push you to succeed just as much as you are to push me to succeed.
Right?
And
I'm a pusher.
mhm, I I think that's, we're here to serve our community, and we didn't get this far by not serving our community.
Right. Right.
And
That
then
is true.
Laura said, couldn't agree more. And then Astaria said, it's so easy in our works to alter the course of not only your own lives, but those we touch and cross paths with. Beautiful.
Yes. Very beautiful. Yes. Yes. So this is our podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed us. Um, do we know what we was doing? No, we don't. We just kind of went with the flow of it. That's all. Um, take it or leave us, love us or not. We're just here to help you on your path and bring you some good old fashioned passion from the gods. That's about it.
Maybe some advice, but we might have to dust off the Cheetos first.
Yeah. But just as a disclaimer, we are not doctors. So if we do give you some advice about, herbs or anything like that, or some therapy advice, we're not doctors. We just go by life experience. That's it. So,
Again, thank you everybody who's watched us, who will watch us. Um, give us a like, subscribe wherever you found us. Find us on other
Subscribe.
platforms.
Yeah.
And without you guys, we can't do this. So
Yeah. We don't like talking to ourselves all the time. So that's what I was afraid of tonight when Nico goes, "Oh, guess what? We're back on." And I was like, "But who's going to come with us?" And everything. And then John goes, "I go on." It's like, "Oh yeah, because Nico and I we talk every day because we're cousins, and you know." So it's kind of nice when John says yes, he would come on. It's like, oh, good, we have somebody to at least talk to. So it's just
oh yeah.
Nico and I.
Anytime you want or need me, just let me know.
You
And
want
unless I got something
any
going on, I'll hop in with you.
Everybody's welcome. We can have up to 10. So we like to keep 4 spots open for Nico and I and Amy and Amber because we are the originals of the Within the Cauldron and everything. But if anybody wants to come on the panel and talk or whatever, that'd be great. But we will see everybody Saturday for kind of like a repeat, but only with Amy and Amber on to where we ask the questions to them. So, and then Wednesday, Tish would be on as our guest.
Talk about her books, her experience as a shop owner, psychic medium.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for her, just let us know. Put it in the chat or join us. You can join us too. Next week will probably be 5 spots open because again we want to leave a spot for Nico and I and Amy and Amber and Tish. So we have 5 spots open next weekend if you want to come on and talk, chit chat, interview, whatever. Like I said, we're not pros at this. We're not professionals or anything. We're just going by the seat of our pants and we holding on to dear life. So we could use some support and some love for everybody to come in. It's your podcast too. It's not just ours, it's yours. And we have a simple yet meaningful statement I came across from a guide was to be the change you want to see within the world.
Absolutely.
Yes. We try to be the change, but I don't know if we can or not. We will try. I think you're doing fantastic. Yeah. Okay. If you say so, I believe you. Yes. We're trying to. Like I said, we're just being us. That's all. Be real. Speaking of being real, we have so many people in the past who says the reason why they love our coven or love Chris and I, Thunder and I, is because we're real. We honest. We're real. We don't fake it. And everybody, just be real in your path. Okay. Don't make it hard. Make it easy. Okay. Remember the gods. The gods has humor. They're laughing at you, and they're probably laughing at us right now too, saying, "Will that crazy lady just shut up?" So,
Rina says you are the change. Over
really,
on Facebook, which you guys can't see. And that's just due to how everything's set up for whatever reason. They can hear us, they can read the subtitles, but you guys can't see it unless you're also looking at my page.
okay. Okay. Well,
Which
thank
I
you.
need to see if I can fix that, but
Well, it's our first one. We will get better someday. Just stick with us. Um, it's new to us. So, but I think it's time to say goodbye to all you beautiful souls out there. It's almost 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. So, Laura, you better get to bed. It's almost 10. No, she's a night owl. I know her. She's a night owl.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I will say we will say goodbye for now, and we see our next Wednesday. Tish On is going to be here as a guest. So please show some support and love. And we will also see you Saturday. And just have fun always in life. Don't be too serious. Flow with
And remember, stay blessed, less stressed.
it. Yes.
And may the Lord and Lady smile upon all that ye do. Blessed be.
Blessed
Blessed
be
be.
heart and soul forever. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And again, thank you, everybody. Have a great night.